It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Machiavelli understood that true power rarely shows its hand. The sovereign who moves least commands most. The battlefield is full of men exhausting themselves in open combat, shouting louder, proving harder, fighting longer, yet the throne does not belong to the loudest voice or the busiest hand. It belongs to the one who understands that force without strategy is weakness, and noise without control is surrender. You waste strength every time you argue, explain, or rush to prove yourself. In today's world, the trap is constant exposure. Posting your every thought, battling in comment sections, defending your image to strangers who do not matter. These are battles designed to drain you. They are arenas where the weak pretend to be strong. Real power is not shown in frantic defense, it is shown in restraint. The sovereign wins by appearing untouchable, by letting others exhaust themselves. Against shadows, the predator knows this law instinctively. A lion does not chase every movement in the grass. It waits. It knows that silence makes prey reveal themselves. Stillness is a weapon more lethal than frantic motion. When you stay silent, you force others into error. They miscalculate, expose weakness, reveal their need. The more you react, the more you bleed. The less you react, the more you rule. Imagine a colleague provoking you in a meeting, baiting you into reaction. If you rise to their level, you lose twice. Once to your temper, and again to their control. But if you remain calm, measured, unmoved, the balance shifts. Their energy looks desperate, yours looks sovereign. The room silently crowns the one who controls himself. Authority is not taken by force. It is given to the man who does not need to raise his hand. Your command is simple. Stop proving. Stop explaining. Stop moving without purpose. Restrain your tongue. Conserve your strength. Let others waste themselves, while you remain the still center of the storm. The throne is claimed by presence, not performance. Master silence as your weapon. Command without lifting a finger. I win by waiting. I rule by silence. Power begins in the unseen throne of the mind. Every move you make in the outer world is first decided by whether you rule or surrender inside. The sovereign who commands himself does not need to fight for scraps of respect because his very presence defines the board. Machiavelli observed that appearances shape reality, and the one who sets perception already controls the battlefield. If you let others dictate what something means, you have already been dethroned before a sword is drawn. Rule your perception, and you rule the war without a fight. This is the throne of perception. He who defines reality controls the field. If you remain calm when others panic, if you hold silence when others argue, if you frame an event as strength when others see it as failure, you force the world to play by your rules. Control interpretation, and you control outcome. The one who owns the narrative does not need to prove. He decides what the game is before anyone else makes a move. Discipline is your guard. In every arena, business, relationships, politics, the man who reacts least rules most. The world provokes you to chase, to argue, to defend. Each time you react in haste, you surrender your guard, and you are cut down without resistance. But when you refuse to rise to bait, when you sit still as if crowned, the battle tilts in your favor before it begins. Weak. I can't help but answer. Strong. I choose silence, I choose control. Weak. I had to respond. Strong. I owed nothing, I revealed nothing. Every reaction is a leak in your fortress. Every restraint is a wall of iron built higher. Self-mastery is your crown. The ruler who cannot be dethroned within cannot be dethroned without. Your fears, cravings, and insecurities are inner rebels, waiting for a moment of weakness to storm the gates. Starve them, deny them control, feed only the part of you that stands sovereign. When temptation whispers, do not bargain. When doubt rises, do not argue. When anger surges, do not act without clarity. Each refusal crowns you stronger. Each victory Inside ensures victory outside. Imagine someone challenging your decision in front of others, demanding an explanation. If you rush to justify, you lower yourself beneath them. But if you hold steady, answer with calm brevity, and leave no trail of desperation, you project strength without striking. Others sense the throne is unshaken. Authority flows not from volume, but from composure. Your command is simple. Seize the throne of perception, guard it with discipline, and crown yourself with mastery. Do this, and no external hand can remove you. Rule inside first, and outside follows. I rule before I move. The first hour after you rise is a battlefield, and those who seize it place the crown on their head before the world wakes. History shows that great commanders knew this truth. Napoleon often began his mornings with strict counsels, addressing pressing matters before chaos could strike. Caesar, too, organized his mornings with discipline, making decisions that shaped entire campaigns before his enemies had even risen. They understood that mornings are not neutral, they are territory to be conquered or lost. Today the war has shifted, but the principle remains. The modern enemy is distraction, the glowing phone, the endless feed, the barrage of notifications. If you begin your day as a servant to these demands, you kneel before invisible masters. The moment you reach for the screen, you surrender command. You let others define your reality, set your priorities, and dictate your state. This is not harmless. It is the first surrender of sovereignty, and once given, it is rarely regained. Crown yourself first. Rise as if enthroned before the world awakens. Your first hour must be guarded like a fortress. Fill it with practices that strengthen you. Silence, planning, movement, reflection. Do not give it away to noise. Do not open your gates to weakness before you have secured them with discipline. This is not about ritual for its own sake. It is about establishing your throne in the unseen war. When the first hour belongs to you, the day bends to your will. When it belongs to others, you spend the rest of the day recovering ground already lost. Imagine someone interrupts you early with demands. If you have already conquered your first hour, your response is calm, precise, sovereign. You are not thrown into chaos because you began from command. But if you surrender your first hour to noise and distraction, their interruption feels like invasion, and you stumble to defend yourself. Authority is visible in how you begin. The one who rules himself at dawn is untouchable by noon. Your command is simple. Do not let the world seize your morning. Guard it. Own it. Use it as the battlefield where you crown yourself daily. Begin each day as sovereign, and you will not need to chase respect, for it will follow presence. I conquer the morning, I command the day. Stillness is not weakness. It is a weapon sharper than steel. The general who rushes his troops into every skirmish drains them before the decisive battle. The sovereign who stays unmoved forces others to reveal their impatience. Sun Tzu warned that the wise commander lets the enemy wear himself out. To remain still while the opponent burns energy is not passivity. It is a strategy. The hawk circles high, wings locked, watching, waiting. Each second of silence tightens its control. Modern life conditions you to do the opposite. The noise is constant. Scroll, respond, prove, defend. You are trained to believe that silence means losing ground. In truth, every unnecessary movement exposes you. The man who argues online, the colleague who reacts instantly, the leader who rushes to explain, all reveal their hand. They are consumed by activity while you conserve strength. Weak. I must answer now. Strong. I wait until the field is mine. The battlefield rewards the one who expends least while forcing others to expend most. You must learn to weaponize stillness. In negotiation, let silence stretch. The impatient will rush to fill the void, often granting you what you sought. In conflict, hold your posture. When voices rise and tempers flare, the one who remains composed becomes the center of authority. Stillness is not retreat, it is controlled. The lion that does not pounce too early eats when it chooses. The soldier who holds ground forces the enemy to reveal supply lines and weaknesses. When you move last, you move with certainty. Consider a meeting where someone challenges your decision aggressively, trying to corner you into reaction. If you answer immediately, you may stumble into their frame. If you remain still, take a measured pause, and then deliver a calm, concise response. You project dominance. Their agitation is visible, yours is not. The room recognizes who holds command. You win not by volume, but by refusal to be moved. The art of inaction is not laziness, it is restraint as strategy. Every time you resist the urge to react, you sharpen your blade. Every time you delay until the right opening, you multiply your power. Stillness terrifies those who cannot control themselves. It makes them show cards they should have held. It makes them waste energy while you gather strength. Your command is simple. Do less, but mean more. Delay action until it matters. Do not answer with noise. Let others exhaust themselves while you circle above. Silent, patient, untouchable. Stillness is not emptiness. It is pressure. It is weight. It is the throne unmoved. I kill with silence. Asterisk power is not only built by what you add, but by what you cut away. The Romans understood this with ruthless clarity. Their legions were feared not just for strength, but for discipline. When weakness appeared in the ranks, it was eliminated swiftly, because one soldier's failure could unravel the entire line. They cut away disorder to preserve command. Victory depended less on numbers and more on purity of force. The principle is eternal. Subtraction is often more powerful than addition. In your life, the greatest enemy is rarely lack of opportunity, but abundance of distraction. You are surrounded by noise, disguised as necessity. Messages, impulses, indulgences, endless fragments of attention competing for your throne. The modern battlefield is not filled with swords, but with screens. Each notification, each empty scroll, each indulgent habit chips at your strength. Weak. I deserve this escape. Strong. I cut this weakness. Weak. I can handle both. Strong. I choose one. Sovereignty requires pruning. You cannot rule while being ruled by impulses that fracture your focus. Elimination must begin with habits, not people. It is easy to blame others, to exile friends or colleagues in the name of clarity. But the true sovereign begins with himself. Cut toxic routines before cutting ties. Remove wasted hours before removing relationships. Discipline is sharper when turned inward first. When you eliminate distractions that dilute your energy, you sharpen the blade of attention. You discover that most tasks, most obligations, and most temptations are unnecessary. They are weeds choking the throne. The fewer you allow, the stronger your rule. Imagine entering a room where colleagues argue over countless minor issues. If you join, you are lost in the weeds. But if you eliminate noise by naming the single essential point and discarding the rest, authority is yours. You win not by addressing everything but by subtracting until only clarity remains. The Roman commander did not fight on all fronts. He concentrated force by stripping away excess. The same is true for you. Sharpen yourself as you would sharpen steel. A blade is not formed by adding more metal, but by grinding away what is unnecessary until only the edge remains. In life, this means stripping away habits that dull your willpower, words that weaken your authority, and commitments that bleed your time. Every act of removal is an act of sovereignty. Your command is simple. Stop adding. Begin subtracting. Kill distractions with the same discipline the legions cut weakness from their lines. Sharpen yourself daily, not by accumulation, but by ruthless elimination. I rule by subtraction. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Machiavelli understood that appearances decide power. Strength is rarely about what you reveal, it is about what you conceal. The sovereign who shows his whole hand becomes predictable. The sovereign who masks his intentions becomes untouchable. Fear and respect are cultivated not by transparency, but by mystery. The general who appears strong and reveals nothing becomes legend. Throughout history, rulers mastered the mask of command. They understood that perception shapes reality more than truth itself. Machiavelli warned that a leader must learn to disguise motives and project strength even when vulnerable. A prince who reveals weakness invites invasion. One who appears solid, even in private doubt, deters attack. To remain unreadable is to remain in control of the board. The modern world tempts you to do the opposite. You are urged to overshare, to post every thought, every move, every feeling. This is not harmless self-expression. It is giving enemies the map to your defenses. Each revelation is a chink in armor. Each exposure reduces your leverage. Weak. Here is everything I feel. Strong. Here is what I choose to display. Weak. I must prove my transparency. Strong. I protect my sovereignty. In the age of constant exposure, privacy itself has become power. You must learn to carry the mask without apology. This does not mean dishonesty. It means measured revelation. In a disagreement, for example, if a colleague presses you to explain a decision, you do not unload your entire reasoning or insecurity. You hold posture, reveal only what supports authority, and leave the rest unsaid. The less you reveal, the more weight your words carry. The one who speaks sparingly and with precision projects confidence. The one who defends with long explanations looks desperate. Think of the general in armor, face unreadable, standing silent before battle. His troops project onto him whatever strength they need. His enemies project onto him whatever fear they dread. By refusing to reveal, he multiplies his influence. Mystery is leverage. Predictability is surrender. A sovereign is not a glass vessel. He is a fortress with guarded gates. Your command is simple. Stop revealing more than necessary. Protect your inner chambers. Display strength deliberately. Reveal nothing you do not choose, and let mystery do the work of fear and respect. The throne belongs not to the exposed, but to the unreadable. I reveal nothing, I command everything. The most dangerous enemy is not outside your walls. It waits inside, disguised as comfort, excuse, or indulgence. Power begins with the execution of weakness within. The sovereign who refuses to confront himself is already conquered. The assassin must draw his blade, not against others first, but against the softness that lives in his own chest. History shows this law clearly. The Stoics trained themselves with self-denial. They practiced hunger, slept on hard ground, exposed themselves to discomfort, not for punishment, but for sovereignty. They knew that if you can rule your cravings, you can rule your world. A man who cannot resist his impulses is not free. He kneels before invisible masters: food, laziness, lust, distraction. The strongest fortress is not stone. It is self-command. The modern world feeds your inner enemy daily. Addiction is everywhere. Constant scrolling, endless consumption, quick dopamine rewards. Procrastination disguises itself as harmless delay, but it steals sovereignty hour by hour. Indulgence whispers that you deserve more rest, more comfort, more excess. Weak. I'll do it later. Strong. I cut it now. Weak. One more will not hurt. Strong. I owe myself discipline. These habits are assassins in reverse. They kill you slowly while you hesitate to act. You must become the assassin of your own weakness, striking swiftly, without pity. Think of the sovereign sharpening his blade at dawn, alone. No crowd to witness, no applause to confirm. He sharpens because a dull blade is a dead ruler. In your life, this means daily discipline, unseen by anyone. It means rising early to face tasks before weakness wakes. It means cutting indulgence before it grows teeth. No audience will crown you for this. But each morning you sharpen, you crown yourself. In practice, this demands ruthless clarity. When you feel the pull of distraction, cut it immediately. Do not negotiate with cravings. When procrastination whispers, act at once. When indulgence tempts, deny it power. You are not destroying yourself. You are destroying what destroys you. Every cut strengthens the throne. Every refusal builds the crown. Imagine being challenged in a group. Someone presses you to defend why you live with such restraint. If you answer defensively, you weaken your position. But if you calmly state, I choose what sharpens me, and leave it there, you project command. You are not ruled by their judgment, and in that refusal to explain endlessly, authority is visible. Your command is simple. Sharpen your blade daily. Kill the weakness before it kills you. Do not let inner rebels live another hour. Be the assassin of your own softness, and your throne will never fall. I cut weakness before it cuts me. Inside you, two forces are locked in constant war. One is the wolf, disciplined, sharp, relentless. The other is the lamb, weak, indulgent, submissive. The throne goes to whichever you feed. The Spartans knew this truth. They raised their young not with comfort but with hardship, stripping away softness until only warriors remained. They did not raise lambs. They forged wolves. A society that feeds weakness creates slaves. A man who feeds weakness becomes his own prisoner. Every choice is nourishment. When you give in to craving, you feed the lamb. When you delay, when you indulge, when you hide from discomfort, you strengthen the part of you that kneels. This is how men lose empires within themselves. They believe small indulgences are harmless, but each one fattens the lamb. The wolf grows hungrier, thinner, more distant, until he no longer commands. Weak. I deserve this comfort. Strong. I choose this edge. Weak. One more will not matter. Strong. Every choice matters. Feeding the wolf requires discipline in what you consume, not only with food, but with time, attention, and energy. You must starve the habits that weaken you. Mindless scrolling, endless distraction, cheap pleasure. They are not neutral. They are meals for the lamb. Each time you surrender to them, you betray the predator within. On the other hand, when you rise early, train your body, sharpen your mind, and focus your effort, you give meat to the wolf. You make him strong, steady, sovereign. Picture the battlefield of your daily life. Before stepping onto it, you decide who leads. If the lamb is fed, you enter soft, hesitant, reactive. If the wolf is fed, you enter sharp, ready, feared. The predator inside you must devour the lamb each morning before you face the world. Otherwise, weakness takes the throne by default. Imagine someone mocking your discipline, calling it unnecessary or extreme. If you defend yourself anxiously, the lamb answers. But if you respond calmly, I choose strength over comfort, and nothing more, the wolf answers. Authority is not in loud defense but in silent certainty. The sovereign does not explain his training to the untrained. He simply rules by it. Your command is clear. Feed what makes you strong, starve what makes you weak. Each choice is a meal. Each indulgence fattens the lamb. Each discipline sharpens the wolf. A day of indulgence is a day of surrender. A day of restraint is a day of sovereignty. The throne belongs to the predator you choose to nourish. I feed the wolf, I starve the lamb. Life is a chessboard, and every interaction is a move. The wise do not rush the opening. They hold, they watch, they calculate. Only fools lunge forward without understanding the board. The Cold War proved this truth. Two powers faced each other for decades, yet no direct battle was fought. Victory was measured in influence, alliances, positioning, and the silent pressure of strategy. Power without battle, moves without movement. This is the unseen game. You play the same game daily. In the office, in relationships, in negotiations, the impatient reveal themselves first. They speak too much, move too quickly, give away position. The disciplined hold back. They read the room, observe the patterns, and wait for openings. Weak. I need to show my strength now. Strong. I reveal nothing until the field is mine. The chessboard belongs to the player who acts last and best, not first and loudest. Subtle maneuvering wins what open conflict cannot. In office, politics, the one who flatters every superior or gossips about every colleague is the pawn who exposes himself. The one who remains composed, deliberate and precise is the player setting traps without being seen. You do not need to fight every piece to control the game. Influence the board quietly. Make one move that shifts 10 others. Let rivals exhaust themselves in obvious battles while you conserve energy for decisive strikes. Imagine a colleague challenging you publicly, eager to provoke. If you rise to their bait, the board tilts in their favor. But if you remain calm, respond with restraint, and let silence hang heavy, their eagerness looks desperate. The room sees who truly commands. This is the unseen game. You are not only addressing the challenger, but shaping the perception of everyone watching. Your presence, your patience, your refusal to play recklessly. All these are pieces moving invisibly across the board. The sovereign who masters this game often appears passive, but behind the mask, every move is calculated. He is like the ruler, who influences councils without being present, the predator who shifts the herd without revealing himself. To outsiders, his power looks effortless. In truth, it is the art of unseen positioning. Your command is simple. Stop playing checkers while others play chess. Do not rush the first move. Study the board, hold your ground, let others expose themselves. Win not by clashing openly, but by arranging the field so the outcome bends toward you. The strongest move is often the one no one notices until the game is already won. I play the game unseen. Discipline is the crown you forge daily, and ritual is the hammer that shapes it. Power without structure crumbles. Strength without rhythm collapses. The rulers who endured understood that will alone is not enough. It must be reinforced by repeated acts that harden into ritual. The Spartans built their dominance not only on courage, but on laws that demanded daily discipline. The samurai bound themselves to codes that made their actions predictable in loyalty, but unshakable in strength. Ritual created warriors who could not be broken by chance. In the modern world, the same principle applies. High performers do not rise by accident. They rely on routines that conserve energy, focus attention, and anchor identity. It is not brilliance in a single moment, but consistency across thousands of unseen moments that builds sovereignty. Weak. I'll do it when I feel like it. Strong. I do it because it must be done. Ritual is the fortress that protects you from weakness, excuse, and mood. When life strikes unpredictably, ritual holds you steady. You must crown yourself through discipline. Begin with one ritual that fortifies you daily. Exercise, writing, planning, silence. Guard it as a sovereign guards his throne. Do not let negotiation or excuses breach the gates. Over time, the act ceases to be a choice. It becomes an identity. The sovereign does not ask, "Will I command today?" He simply commands. Your rituals must be the same. Unquestioned, repeated, iron. Picture the king sharpening his sword each dawn, though no war is declared. Outsiders might call it unnecessary. Yet when war comes, his blade is ready, his hand steady, his will unshaken. This is what ritual does for you. It prepares you for battles unseen, for challenges that appear suddenly. You do not scramble for strength when tested. You draw on strength you built in silence long before. Imagine someone ridiculing your routines, mocking your discipline as an obsession. If you argue, you weaken the crown. But if you calmly continue without defense, you project sovereignty. Authority is not earned by explaining your discipline. It is shown by living it. The disciplined man does not debate the value of ritual. He embodies it until no one questions. Your command is simple. Build rituals that harden your will into iron. Cut excuses. Repeat discipline daily until it becomes who you are. Ritual is not a cage but a fortress. It does not imprison you, it protects your throne. The crown is not given once. It is reforged every morning through repeated acts of mastery. I sharpen daily. I rule eternally. Power is best exercised in silence. The true sovereign moves without motion, commands without speech, and dominates without confrontation. History is full of rulers who required no armies at their side to inspire obedience. Monarchs whose presence alone kept generals alert, whose gaze settled disputes before swords were drawn, whose aura was a fortress none dared breach. The invisible throne is not a seat of action but a crown of perception. To occupy it, you must cultivate fear and respect simultaneously, and neither by shouting nor by spectacle. In modern arenas, the principle endures. Leaders who draw attention through incessant announcements or self-promotion often expose themselves to vulnerability. Those who succeed quietly, making decisions without public fanfare, command loyalty and caution effortlessly. Status becomes magnetized without noise. Colleagues adjust, competitors hesitate, and influence spreads not because of force, but because the invisible authority is undeniable. Weak, I must prove my worth. Strong, I am already worthy. Silence conveys confidence that words cannot. To sit on the invisible throne, begin by mastering presence. Your calm in chaos signals power. Your refusal to react to provocations demonstrates control. Your preparation in private ensures victory in public. Observe, measure, and respond only when necessary. Let others exhaust themselves in action while you remain steady, impervious, untouchable. The sovereign knows that patience is armor, observation is weapon, and restraint is crown. Every act of self-control reinforces your throne. Every display of impulsive emotion diminishes it. Consider a modern office dispute. A peer challenges your proposal aggressively, expecting a reaction. Rather than argue, you respond with measured clarity, presenting facts without emotional charge. Colleagues witness the calm decisiveness and naturally align, while the aggressor exposes weakness. You win without lifting a finger, your authority silent but absolute. Small interactions, repeated consistently, compound into an aura that cannot be violated. Your command is unambiguous. Cultivate silence as a strategic weapon. Refine your presence until your mere existence alters behavior. Reject the need for constant demonstration of skill or intelligence. Build influence in unseen chambers, make decisions in shadows, and allow the world to bow before your composed power. True sovereignty requires minimal effort, yet demands maximal discipline. The invisible throne is earned, maintained, and respected, precisely because it is rarely challenged and never flaunted. I rule without movement, my crown unseen. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Sovereignty is not the clashing of armies nor the raising of hands. True power resides in presence, in the quiet command that bends circumstance without effort. History offers the archetype. Rulers whose appearance alone dictated allegiance, whose silence controlled the tides of revolt, whose aura was a battlefield none could enter. Machiavelli observed that perception governs more than reality. The ultimate law is this: shape how you are seen, and the world will obey without struggle. The throne of influence is invisible, yet unassailable. Consider a battlefield where armies wait in formation, each general calculating movement. Among them sits one whose mere posture, the calm assertion of being, directs the flow of engagement. You are this figure. Every ritual you perform in private, waking before dawn, sharpening skills, meditating on strategy, builds a fortress of self-discipline. Each repeated habit is armor. Each unshaken routine is a shield that cannot be pierced. To master stillness is to master motion. While others exhaust themselves in visible labor, you conserve energy, maintain clarity, and wield authority silently. The predator principle underlies this form of power. Apex hunters move without signal, unseen, shaping prey behavior through presence rather than pursuit. Similarly, your influence is drawn from invisibility. Maintain boundaries as your teeth, calm vigilance as your eyes. Do not chase recognition. Let recognition arrive. Observe, adjust, and act sparingly. In meetings, in negotiations, in social currents, speak only when action is essential. The economy of gesture amplifies authority. A single measured word outweighs a torrent of rhetoric. Weak. I must convince them. Strong. My stance convinces them. Silence becomes leverage. Presence becomes dominion. Historical precedent reinforces this approach. Monarchs who mastered appearances, Louis XIV, who orchestrated court rituals to project omnipotence, or Augustus, whose poised control pacified Rome, illustrate that true command is often passive. Modern leaders mirror this principle. CEOs, philosophers, and strategists who influence markets, opinions, and nations without constant public display embody untouchable authority. Their mastery of self, their disciplined routines, and their ability to remain inscrutable render intervention unnecessary. You must emulate this. Cultivate your inner domain, polish skills unseen, and allow the world to acknowledge your power without provocation. Disagreements must be handled with precision. When a colleague or subordinate challenges you aggressively, do not retaliate with visible irritation. Listen fully, respond with measured clarity, and allow facts to shape perception. Your calm decisiveness turns confrontation into demonstration. Others recognize competence. The instigator exposes impatience or weakness. Small, repeated exercises of composed authority accumulate into inviolable respect. You are untouchable not because you strike, but because you project inevitability. Ritual fortifies this sovereignty. Morning preparation, consistent practice, silent reflection, and strategic observation construct an unassailable throne. Eliminate distraction, control exposure, and allow silence to amplify every gesture. The archetype of the untouchable ruler is never loud. The archetype is deliberate, measured, and omnipresent without being seen. Every choice, every posture, every restrained response contributes to the invisible architecture of power. Command your realm as the invisible emperor. Enforce discipline internally, cultivate respect externally, and act with intent at all times. Presence must be calibrated, energy preserved, intervention minimal. Master your habits, sharpen perception, and let ritual dictate readiness. Let others struggle visibly while you ascend quietly. Stillness is strategy, invisibility is dominance. Ritual is armor. Influence flows toward those who conserve effort and radiate certainty. In the theater of life, you are the unseen king, the silent general, the apex predator whose environment conforms without confrontation. I rule without motion, my throne untouched. React, and you are enslaved. Power is not measured by motion, but by control. The throne of influence is secured not by striking first, but by mastering your own response. Life tests your sovereignty at every turn, in the glare of provocation and the subtle currents of envy. The untouchable ruler observes without being drawn, listens without conceding, and waits without desperation. The battlefield is everywhere. In offices, in social circles, in fleeting confrontations. To lift a finger is to hand a portion of your freedom to circumstance. Calm presence is your weapon. Like a king surveying the chessboard, every gesture, every silence communicates authority. When others move with anxiety, panic, or impulsiveness, your stillness radiates inevitability. Do not react to provocation. Measure, pause, and allow the moment to pass under your gaze. In negotiation or debate, when someone challenges your position, aggressively respond with deliberate clarity. A single composed word deflects tension and asserts dominance. Weak. I must respond now. Strong. I respond when it advances my purpose. Routine is armor. Your rituals of preparation, reflection, and disciplined action create a fortress that cannot be breached by emotion or impulse. Rise with intent, sharpen your mind, and carry the quiet confidence of preparation into every encounter. Observe carefully, act sparingly, and let results speak without embellishment. Your control of self shapes the environment, bending outcomes without visible exertion. Leaders, thinkers, and strategists who move the world without force demonstrate this principle. Power resides in presence, not activity. Boundaries are your fortifications. Guard your attention, regulate your exposure, and refuse to surrender energy to chaos. In the face of disagreement, maintain clarity and poise. Listen fully, respond precisely, and let reason carry weight that emotion cannot. Calm decisiveness turns opposition into acknowledgement of competence. Every unshaken habit, every controlled reaction builds invisible dominion. Life bends to the one who restrains impulse and governs action with deliberate intention. Embody the apex predator. In human form, poised, vigilant, untouchable, your influence grows not through conflict, but through the careful orchestration of presence. Avoid unnecessary exertion. Command attention with economy. Let silence amplify authority. Observe, calculate, and act only when your intervention is decisive. Your mastery of self is the ultimate law. Your stillness, the final move that wins without struggle. I win not by force, but by presence. I am sovereign, untouchable, crowned in silence.